Hey you guys, it's Britt. Today we're here to react to a new video that I came across. I had to share it with you guys. The title of the video is "My Husband Controls My Life and I Love It." So I'm sure that this will be a really interesting conversation. If you're interested, please keep watching. All right, you guys, so this video was uploaded on a YouTube channel called Truly. They actually have over 9 million subscribers, and they have a lot of really interesting videos. I don't know why this one was put into my YouTube algorithm, but I came across it and I had to share it with you guys. This reminds me a lot of the Sam and Nia video that I reacted to not that long ago. It might have been a month or two ago. And where Nia was basically just saying how she does everything for Sam, and she, if she's out with friends, like she makes sure that she's home so that she can cook him dinner. And I realize that relationships like that work for some couples, and not saying that if you have a relationship like that, it's absolutely the worst thing ever. Obviously, as long as there's no DV or anything like that going on. But I also feel like these types of relationships where one person is controlling the other person's life to this extent, it can become extremely toxic. And even if it's not like that right away, it can definitely start to brew and fester. And typically the person that is in control of the other person might not necessarily know that the person's feeling that way, because they are so submissive, and with the other person being in control, they might not feel like they can openly communicate with their partner, and that can cause a lot of really deeply rooted depression problems, mental health issues, and we're not even talking about if there are mental health, anxiety, depression already existing for this person, and then you add something like this on top of it. So I don't know. For me, I think that it kind of seems like a recipe for disaster, but I'm also not a relationship pro. I'm just someone with an opinion. So we're going to watch this and see what they have to say.
Is Monica. She fell in love with John.
You're hot, you play the guitar. I have a thing for musicians.
While the pair may look like your average couple from the outside, the way their relationship functions has shocked many.
I actually had childhood friends straight out telling me that I've lost my dignity as a woman.
Did you choose this? Or did it just happen?
Why is it that John can sleep with other women?
Can we cut?
So obviously if and I'm just going to put this out there, as far as open relationships go, if that's what works for you, that's amazing. I'm not here to say that if you have an open relationship, you're a terrible person. But if it's an open relationship only on one person's side, then that can be extremely problematic. Even if the other person acts like they're okay with it, this can obviously create a ton of jealousy, trust issues, even if they act like they're okay. Usually the person that has more freedom is the one that is in control of the other one. And I don't know, I just don't like power imbalances when it comes to marriages or relationships or partnerships, even friendships. Try to make it 50-50, and if things can't be 50-50, at least be aware that you're trying to work towards that and you're trying to make it really fair for both people. It can just cause a ton of issues. Something else that I've really noticed too is that there are younger couples that are trying to create traditional marriages, traditional relationships. Traditional is not toxic. So I see this a lot where you're calling it a traditional relationship, but all that it is a power imbalance and a relationship that is extremely toxic, where one person is being controlled and the other person is very submissive and turns into a puppet for the puppeteer, which is the other partner, the other spouse. This can just cause so many issues, and I really by them kind of shining a spotlight on this, it's great because it opens up points of discussion for reaction and commentary channels like myself. But as far as trying to normalize this type of relationship, I think that it can really send the wrong message out to young people. That's just my opinion.
So here's a little dress, and here's another dress that's shorter, and then I have this.
Yeah, let's go green today. I think
The green today?
That's going to be the one.
So we're going green today, yay! So,
And that's like a really cute dress, don't get me wrong, but I couldn't imagine having my significant other pick out what I'm going to wear every single day. Now, don't get me wrong, I love my boyfriend's input. Like, you know, if we're going to a wedding, I'll be like, okay, should I wear this or should I wear this? And like, I'll get his input because he's the only one here to give his input. And plus, I care what he thinks. But as far as it being every day, where it's like this person is picking out exactly what I'm going to wear and like what my hair is going to look like and what kind of makeup I'm going to wear, no.
I like my husband to pick up my clothes because I like pleasing him, so I like to look hot for him. I feel a lot more confident when he picks out my clothes because then I know that I'm actually wearing what he likes. Hey, everyone.
Well, what would happen if you're wearing what he doesn't like? Would he not love you for that day? Would he not give you affection? Would he not give you attention? That's really sad if that's the case. If she feels like something as simple as what I'm going to wear today equates to what kind of love or respect I'm going to receive from my husband, that's really sad if you ask me.
My name is Monica and I live to please my husband John.
We have a traditional marriage, and I'm the man, and I make the rules around the house.
We have a traditional marriage and I'm the man and I make the rules around the house. This is a toxic marriage, in my personal opinion, based on watching this once already. This is absolutely a very controlling and it's a marriage that is dominated by him, and she has, I wouldn't even say little say-so, I would say close to no say-so in what happens in their household, and that is not a partnership. That is not a loving relationship where one person is making the rules for the other person to follow. Toxic relationships are so often masked as just being traditional, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I don't like it, no.
We've been together, what, 6 years now?
6 years, yeah.
I've always had a submissive side since I can remember, and I've always been drawn to assertive and dominant males.
The last thing I want to say about traditional marriages before we get into the rest of this video is just the fact that there is nothing about a traditional marriage that includes infidelity or one person sleeping around and the other person just being submissive and being okay with it. In fact, if you're in a healthy marriage, infidelity is not something that most people want to achieve. It's not something where it's like, oh, these are the tools to success as far as how to, you know, have a happy marriage. Infidelity, number one. It really bothers me how so many of these toxic traits are being thrown into, oh, well, it's just a traditional marriage. No, it's a abusive marriage that this man is sleeping around and controlling everything that his wife does, wears, says, you know, the whole 9 yards, and she is expected to listen and do as he says because she has said that she is submissive.
Anybody who's been with a woman knows they don't know what the heck to wear, right? I like Monica to dress feminine, but nice.
I enjoy being a traditional housewife because that's my love language. I love to make people I love feel good.
And there is no problem with wanting to be a housewife. But when you say, I want to be a traditional housewife, and that includes being cheated on and controlled to a toxic level by your husband, this is not two people, you know, building a life together where they're sharing ideas and coming up with what's best for their relationship and their household. This is something where If she goes against the grain, then she's being disobedient, and that is not what a marriage is, ever.
It's not like I'm a hopeless little girl. It's not about that. It's just he's assertive, and I like that in a man.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. For myself, I have certain rules where, you know, keep him happy. So my mom.
And I also want to say there's nothing wrong with wanting to be with an assertive partner, someone who can make decisions and make them, you know, quickly, and make an educated decision for what's best. So there are definitely pros to being what I would consider assertive, but assertive doesn't equate to controlling every aspect of your life and taking away your ability to make decisions for yourself. She's kind of throwing everything in this bucket of, oh, he's assertive, when all that it is him controlling literally every aspect of her life.
She taught me how to cook, how to clean, how to be a good wife, how to please my man, and she also told me be in good shape and look pretty because nobody wants a fat and ugly wife.
Ooh, did her mom tell her that being cheated on is not necessarily anywhere in the guidebook of a healthy relationship? I'm not sure about that, but let's also talk about the physical aspect of what she just talked about. Be in shape and look pretty because nobody wants a fat and ugly wife. That is the most shallow, heartbreaking thing that I've heard. Now, sure, I understand, you know, people want to stay quote unquote in shape. Now, in shape does not mean that people are thin or skinny, and being skinny does not mean that you are healthy at all. In fact, health can come in all shapes and sizes. I've talked about this many times before. A number on the scale does not equate to being healthy. And I think it's really sad that she equates being pretty to being a good wife. I understand that there's certain upkeep, you know, like for me, I like to keep my hair cut. There's a couple things that I like to do my skincare and stuff, but that's for me. That's not for, for my significant other. That's so that I feel good about myself and I feel good in my own skin, and it gives me confidence. And when I feel confident, I also apply that to my day-to-day life and how I approach friendships, relationships. Like, so at the core, I do that for me. I don't know, it sounds like her mother definitely kind of planted that seed at a very young age, and unfortunately it has followed her this entire time. The other thing I want to say before we get into the rest of this is that when you think of how someone might look when you first meet them versus what they might look like 3 years, 7 years, 12 years, 15 years later, bodies change. And if you consider having children, that's a whole nother conversation. People change. And the whole point of building love and trust and having this really strong foundation is so that hopefully nobody is shallow and saying, oh, well, you looked 10 years younger 10 years ago. Well, yeah, like time goes on, like people change, the way that you look can change, and that's just part of life. If your physical appearance is the main thing that someone is going to critique you on, then that is someone who, in my opinion, has a very narrow outlook on people in general, and they are probably extremely immature and very hard to hold a conversation with, and that's just not someone that I would ever want to build a life with. So if those kinds of shallow comments came out early in our relationship and they came across my radar, I would run for the hills. We need to stop normalizing abusive, toxic relationships and calling them traditional. How about that?
Hey, babe.
Hey, babe.
What do you want for breakfast today?
Would you mind making some pancakes?
Yeah, sure. Want some whipped cream with the pancakes?
Hell yeah. Let's make some bacon too. Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
cool.
Love you.
Love you.
I'd be like, sir, and what is it that you're doing where you cannot help me and come in the kitchen and help cook? You want bacon? Come in the kitchen and help me. I mean, it'd be one thing if he was, remodeling their bathroom or cutting the yard and he's busy. To me, he's probably looking for his next date on Tinder.
I try to make him happy the whole day, throughout the day, and he does the same for me. So yeah, I would say 98% of my day evolves around my husband, which I love.
But what does he really do to make her happy? Cheats on her? Tells her that she needs to look a certain way or she's not deserving of his love. This is a very sad relationship to me.
I take care of everything that has to do with finances, making sure the bills are paid on time. It feels pretty natural to make most of the decisions. I'm more of a bull.
When it comes to finances, and I know that everyone has their own outlook on this, but I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of a personal story for me. When my grandmother, the one that I talk about all the time on my channel, when she married my grandfather, she was an immigrant from Latvia and she came here, she got a job, she met him. They used to actually work at a grocery store in downtown DC. They met and they had what I would consider a traditional marriage. He handled all the bills. She didn't. Even though she was generating income, it would go into an account where their bills were paid out of. There's a long story to that, but when my grandfather passed away, she was left with a house and bills and things that she had to take care of. So she had no clue how to write a check. She did not know the ebbs and flows of their checking account. She didn't know a whole lot about 401k or savings or anything like that. She had a surface level understanding. But when he died, my dad actually, and this is an odd kind of dynamic because it was actually my mom's mom, but she and my dad were very, very close even after my parents divorced. And he taught her how to write a check. And she ended up, having to learn things, and she would ask questions. And luckily, my dad was a business owner. He's always been very good with money. He's very good with numbers. So he was able to help guide her through that kind of transition period. But it was a lot for her because my grandfather died unexpectedly. Nobody really saw it coming. And she was left with all of this responsibility. Luckily, their house was paid off, but you still have electric and taxes and all of this kind of stuff. So what that showed me, even at a younger age, is that, yes, like finances are very personal to that relationship. But there is no reason why one person should be completely shut out of how to write a check, what their banking info is, like what the login is. If you're going to share an account and have all the income go to one account, both people should have access to that. It should be, if you get married young, you should both be able to learn finances together. It should not be both people working and one person controlling the money.
By the horn kind of guy, whereas Monica doesn't like conflict and stuff like that.
Why is it that John can sleep with other women?
Can we cut?
Yeah.
So
she literally looked like she was going to burst into tears. I actually feel really bad for this girl. I hope that I know that this video just came out, but I don't know, maybe since their relationship is getting a lot of attention with this video and other people talking about it, I hope that she can maybe take an outside look at her relationship and see how supportive other people are and the problems that people are identifying within her relationship. I hope that she can get out. She needs to run for the hills.
sleeping with other women thing, first of all, it's a really small part of our relationship. Monica was cool with it, and I was cool with it, and I think it's a luxury I have that probably most guys watching this wish they had, just because of like genetic programming. If you look at all other mammals, how they do it, typically the alpha male gets to bang all the females. I think
he is a pig. This guy is actually, he sounds like In my opinion, I'm not here to diagnose anyone, and I'm not a mental health professional or a doctor or anything. He sounds like a narcissist with a huge fucking ego. Wow, like what a pig. And I love how he talks about being an alpha male, and then they cut over to all of these like toy tractors and Tonka trucks and shit. That's funny. I understand that some people have open relationships, but typically when it's an open relationship, it's open on both ends. It's not one person doing whatever the hell they want to do and expecting full fidelity from the other person. I don't know. Open relationships could be a whole nother topic, but for this, he's not being some big tough guy. He's a narcissist that might even have an addiction to sex, and this is his way of getting his fix. And as a side note, most men that are in healthy relationships do not need the constant, they don't have the constant urge to bang all the females. They're typically very content in their relationships, and if and when there were to be an issue, they talk about it with their partners and they figure it out. They don't bang all the females because they're males. You're a pig, sir.
I think it just makes for a much more relaxed relationship because there's nothing in my life that I desire that I can't have. And I think that makes me a better husband.
Baby, breakfast.
There's nothing in my life that I can't have. It's because you have an ego that is bigger than anything that I've seen in a while. And in my personal opinion, you are a massive narcissist and a control freak.
Yes,
Ooh, yummy stuff.
yes, it's pancakes.
Starving.
I feel like as a female, I have a different view on sex than a male does. So for a guy, it's just a fun thing. I know in my heart that he loves me. He comes home to me. He takes really good care of me.
I can totally get that some people might think that there's an imbalance in power in our relationship.
I actually had
It's because there is, sir. You're delusional.
childhood friends straight out telling me that I've lost my dignity as a woman and I also shouldn't have children because I would be a horrible mom because we do what we do. And then I've actually had people saying,
I don't think that people should just come in and be like, oh, you shouldn't have kids. Like, that's a really strong statement to make. If I had to think about it from what her friends are seeing, they're probably just seeing this extremely toxic relationship and saying, I don't know if I would bring kids into this relationship that is clearly very toxic to everyone on the outside looking in. I could be wrong, but I think that's probably what they're getting at.
oh my God, I love the openness.
I don't really have anything to say to the people who disprove our lifestyle or whatever because I don't care about them at all.
So I'm just getting the house ready for my friends. They're coming over. I always tidy up at home and keep the house nice and clean so John is happy and content with the house.
All right, babe. I'm gonna go to the gym. I hope the conversation goes well with your friends. I'll see you when you get back.
I'll see you later. Hi, babes. Oh, hi, babes. Hello. Hey, I had some wine for you and some sparkling for you, my love. So
Thank you, babe. We just traveled so far.
oh yeah.
What's going on with your marriage?
Well, you know, that whole traditional housewife kind of thing, and you know, my husband kind of being with other people as well. So
Is that part of the traditional?
No, maybe not that part, but you know, me being a housewife, we never really talked about it though, so you kind of never knew how our marriage is working. I do all the cooking, cleaning, whatever.
It's not a traditional housewife. This is a toxic, controlling relationship where she, this asshole is not going to find many other women that are like Monica here. So that's probably another reason why he's really holding on to her, because he realizes that most women look at this and see exactly what his gig is and they're disgusted by it. I guarantee he has had tons of failed relationships before she came into his life. So this is not a traditional relationship. This is toxic, abusive, controlling, and actually really heartbreaking for anyone on the outside looking in. And I think that she is in a lot of denial based on what we're seeing in this video. It seems like I do believe that she's going to see what others see eventually, because most people do. I can't say for sure, but she seems like a very smart girl, but I think that she is just still like blinded, you know, by his, I don't know. I don't even want to say charm, because he, to me, doesn't have a whole lot to offer. Ugh.
I know John's great and all, but like, what does he do?
He takes out the trash, fixes with the car, you know, manly things, and I do all the womanly things.
Does that ever make you mad? Like, do you ever feel like it's not fair?
So I'm totally fine with I love being a housewife.
No, being a housewife and staying home and cooking and cleaning does not give your husband a ticket to go sleep with other women. That is abusive. Takes out the trash, fixes the car. You can kick him to the curb. You can take your own trash out, because that's easy. That's a cakewalk. If you don't know how to work on your own vehicle, that's why they have mechanics, auto dealerships, you know, mom and pop stores. Like, having him around, or keeping any person around because they can do these specific things while you're subjecting yourself to abuse, is not a quality way to live life, in my opinion.
Do you feel like you spend way too much time doing the cooking and cleaning while you could just outsource it and follow your own passions?
No, I think it's my passion to take care of my husband.
Would he cook you dinner if you were sick or pregnant?
I mean, if I was sick, yeah, but we'll probably just order food.
Did you like choose this, or did it just happen?
It just happened. I didn't choose this. This is what I like.
She needs to run for the hills. She did not choose it. It just happened. Ma'am, you deserve so much more out of this life. Please run for the hills immediately.
To do.
I just feel like you're such an alpha, though.
I'm definitely not an alpha at home.
Hey!
Have a good time.
So Monica tells us that you have a traditional relationship.
That's correct.
I didn't realize that all the time she had to scurry away to make you dinner and like enforced.
Hey, I'm a growing boy. I'm feeling.
You're a Virgo, aren't you?
Anyways, that's my cue. Have a good day, guys. Later.
See, and he's one of these that's like one of those control freaks, but he'll like kiki kaka with like your friends and make it a little less tense when friends are around. This is typical. You guys, like I've seen this guy before in my personal life, and this is not someone who is worth a dime of energy. This is someone who you try to, even if she were to, you know, come to him and want to talk about stuff and do her own thing, like this is like, he's one of those guys where it's like you feel like you're talking to a brick wall because he just cannot be wrong. Meanwhile, he's banging all the chicks. What a pig.
Oh my god. Well, I guess that tied it up.
That explained, that's all we need to know, John's Virgo. When I first found out about John and Monica's relationship, I guess you could say I was a little bit thrown off because I feel like they come off as being pretty equal. But then when she just said that she was a traditional housewife, I guess I just don't really know what that means.
Yeah, I was a little surprised because it just doesn't seem like her. She's such a strong-minded woman.
She'll definitely make little funny comments like, oh, my husband's gotta eat. And I didn't think she was actually serious.
I can see how people that don't know us might think, oh, that's not healthy, or that's bad. But I think if you're a good person and you're with somebody that you really, really love and you're soulmates, it's a whole different thing. I love my marriage and I love him, and I don't feel like there's anything stopping us from living like this always.
I think that the love is there with her, but in my opinion, he is someone who will just use someone until he can't use them any longer. And if and when they fight back, he leaves and goes on to the next thing. So that's the end of the video. I want to read some of the comments. So someone said, oh, and this whole thing is like love doesn't judge or whatever, but you're putting it on YouTube. People are going to have opinions about it. So this comment says, wow, this is not about judging. This is about facts. Fact. She's undeniably codependent. Fact, he is emotionally, physiologically, and more than likely also financially abusive to her. She has made excuses to herself to cope with her life. And that's why I was saying I think she's in denial, unfortunately. And the last thing is he's not a good man, and I'm being kind. The next comment says, I'm a girl who would never want a marriage to be like this. I'm praying for this woman to leave him because it's obviously not going to work. And it said they've been together for 6 years, but maybe now that this video came out, she can kind of look at it from a different vantage point. And I don't think that there should be this whole traditional, non-traditional, as long as the relationship is healthy, happy, both people are, you know, playing their part. I don't understand why there needs to be all of these like guidelines. As long as it's health and love at the center of whatever it is that you're building together, that's the biggest takeaway. Love, trust, not being a fucking narcissist and cheating on each other. Like, Jesus Christ. Imagine obeying someone with the emotional range of a teaspoon. Girl, you need to see a therapist ASAP. You lost me at sleeping with other women. It's obvious she's not okay with it. This is why people take traditional relationships as a joke. I was okay with everything until I heard him say he can sleep with anyone, only because she was okay with everything else. I don't think she's okay with him being with other people. That's why she said, cut that part. It's sad. This is what happens when you never tell someone no. If someone's happy being at home and cooking and cleaning and doing that role, as long as they're genuinely happy, that's fine. But in this relationship, you could see the power imbalance, and you can see the, you could just see that he's a narcissist a mile away. And to say that he can go and be unfaithful while she's at home, literally like doing everything for him, sir, you can fuck off, in my opinion. But there's a lot of good comments. I'm going to link this video down below. There's also another one I might react to. It's called My Husband Punishes Me When I Break the Rules. So that might be a good one to react to, but we'll see. I'm going to see how this video does, see how you guys like it. So either way, leave all your thoughts down below. What are your thoughts on traditional marriages? What are your thoughts on this, where it's, you know, being labeled as traditional, but it's clearly not that at all? Yeah, leave all your opinions. So for now, if you like the video, leave a like and a comment. And if you'd like to see more from me in the future, please subscribe. I'll see you guys soon. Bye.